joining us today. We have the privilege of having Debbie Rosemont, the CEO, founder, guru, organizational expert from Simply Place with us today. We are going to have a lot of information from Debbie because I've learned so much from her over the years. Her company has been an integral part of You Got This, the event in September, since we started. It's a key component to the event that the girls are learning about organizing, but there's such a deep reason of why Debbie and her company is part of it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So hi, Debbie, and thank you for being a part of this interview today.
I am thrilled to be a part of the interview, and I'm thrilled that Simply Place is going to be a part of your event again. I think it's such a good one for middle school girls and their parents, and so I'm grateful that you're doing it, and like I said, glad to be a part.
Great. And I know, like, organizing, some people get excited about it, others are like, organizing, no. But I have to tell you that the girls are excited about that piece of information that they get, like that session that they get. It's always interesting. You can always tell the kids who are really into it and the ones who are like, their eyes are open, like, wow, I never thought of this. Yeah. But it's so, like, the pointers that they get are just so important for them, and they're action pieces. It's not like it's just, you know, up here on this level. They are actually told what to do, how to organize. So let's back up and talk about why. Like, why is it so important, Debbie, that kids are learning how to organize? Well,
first of all, I think organization, time management, the ability to plan and you know, prioritize. These are life skills, right? I mean, you and I know that we use these skills as adults in our careers, in our personal lives, and they're really not taught in school. You know, you may have some teachers who talk about taking a big project, maybe let's say a science project, and breaking it down into pieces and maybe putting some things in the planner that aren't just the due dates. But I found that both certainly myself in school years ago, but also having kids, you know, as they went through elementary, middle school, and high school, that those lessons weren't really taught.
Right.
So because they're life skills, if they're not taught in school, how are kids going to learn them? And I think that's the big part of why we talk about at an event like yours, organization and time management for students, because that, when they learn it and can apply it, and I love that you said, you know, we try and make that really practical and easy for them. When they get that down, it's not only going to help them now, and the ways it's going to help now isn't just, you know, better grades and being able to do more. It's not about that. It's about having increased confidence. It's about having less stress. It's about saving time for what matters both to these kids and then as they become adults, you know, to them as adults. So it's a life skill: organization, time management, planning, prioritization, not necessarily taught in any other way. You know, some parents are going to teach their kids these lessons, but some adults struggle with this too, and so then they have a harder time passing these lessons on. But the benefits are tremendous, and that's going to be realized not only in school but into someone's adult life as well.
Right. And, you know, one of the things that your company does is you primarily work with adults to teach them these things. That's from true. Emails, you know, organizing those all the way to time management, because it's not taught to us when we're younger. And right. I know me personally, if I am not using these skills and time management and such, my stress and my anxiety goes really high. Right. And it's obviously a problem that we're seeing with our young population right now, is anxiety and depression are really increased. So if they can organize and reduce that stress, then just anxiety and all of these other things can be reduced as well.
Absolutely. I think it's the idea of, you know, there are lots of things in life we can't control. We can always control our reaction to situations and events, but there are things we can control. So what can we do about that? And this is one of those things.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned confidence, which is key, and that's a key component to the You Got This event, to give the girls the confidence that they can get through middle school in a positive way. And you talked about taking big projects and breaking those down. Imagine not having these skills and getting this huge project, just imagine that anxiety. Am I going to be able to do this? Can I handle it? But knowing you've got the skill, what a difference.
I'd say that the one common word that we hear the most from our adult clients, and this is true of students too, when they call, is overwhelm. So when I talk about confidence going up because you have systems in place that you can rely on to manage your time or to keep up with organization, we can save our energy and use that in a different way than having to figure out where is that thing that we can't find, right? So we're saving wasted time, we're saving energy, and we just feel better. So when we can take away the overwhelm with some good systems and some good habits and some routines, fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned finding things, and I know the backpack is like this deep, dark hole. It's like a black hole, right? Especially when it's not organized. So I love the part of what you and your company teaches kids is how to organize a backpack, starting from there.
That's right. Yep. We talk about organizing physical stuff. And so for students, that's, it really can even be in their bedroom so that they have an easier time and can reduce friction in getting ready for school in the morning, right? It starts there. It starts when we wake up and get out of bed. So, how can we be ready for school? Yes, there's the backpack, and we definitely talk about that. But even just, how do you organize your bedroom? How do you organize a study space so that you have room to be able to focus on something, hopefully as free of distraction as is possible for these middle schoolers? And that often involves turning off notifications or dings or buzzes or putting the phone away. And then, yes, how do you organize your backpack? Because what I always hate to see for some of the students we work with is they're smart kids. And they are, many of them, even doing their homework, and they're doing it on time. But then there's something about that deep, dark hole in the backpack where that homework doesn't get turned in. So if we can help them figure out the system for when they finish their homework, here's where you put it in the backpack. And then when you get to that class where it needs to be turned in, here's exactly where you're going to find it. It's not crumpled at the bottom underneath a banana peel and, other stuff that you haven't cleaned out in a month. It's right where it should be. And that, again, way reduces stress and improves results.
One of the saddest things that happened to my daughter one time was that she worked really hard on homework and then it got lost in her backpack. So she thought she didn't have it, didn't turn it in, got points deducted, and later realized it was in the backpack.
Yes. So, the ideas, the general organization principles that we teach can be applied to any space in the home, can be applied to the backpack, can even be applied to one's calendar or schedule. And those are the ideas of finding ways to regularly clear clutter and to know what you have, make sure that what you have is serving you and adding value, and then finding ways to organize those things so that everything has a home and that it's easy to find. It's also easy to put away when it's not in use. And those are things that we'll talk about at your event.
Awesome. One thing, I have a question for you. I know there's some parents who are super organized, and so they organize everything for their kids and, their schedule, everything. What would you say to those parents?
Well, I would encourage them to find ways to support their kids that involve their kids and start to transition these skills to their kids. Because what we want as parents, and I guess I can only speak for myself, but we want to raise capable, confident, responsible, self-sufficient kids that we can then send out into the world that will be contributors to society, but also able to function independently. And so when we continue to do something for our kids without transferring skills to them, we're really doing them a disservice as we think about their future selves. So that may work great right now while they're, 10, 11, 12 years old, but really middle school is a prime time because the kids are so capable to learn these things. So if a parent is super organized themselves, fantastic. They're in a really good position to explain what they're doing to kids. And I think teaching a skill and kind of training on something has various stages. And the first stage is doing something for someone else while they watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's having, talking through it and having the kid maybe make some notes, the child make some notes about what it is to do this process. And then the child doing it with the parent supporting and coaching. And then the child's able to do it independently. And ultimately, we can assess if somebody has mastered a skill when they are able to teach it to somebody else. So that's something that, if that child then can teach a younger sibling or a friend, then they've got it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love this idea of involving the kids, because I do see a lot of very well-intentioned parents. I'm just going to make sure everything's organized, like ready to go in the morning and all of that, but they have to transition to be self-sufficient.
Yes.
So I think that one of the things you can do is, as you're gearing up for this new school year, is when you're thinking about your systems that you have in place in organization, is bringing your child in and saying, hey, how should we organize this? Where do you want to put your backpack? Where should, how should we do this at night, in the morning? And have them have a buy-in to it, and then they're much more likely to follow through.
I totally agree. And having them have some skin in the game, maybe even thinking about how you might reward and encourage in a positive, whether it's just praise, or if this is something that your child has really struggled with before and you want to try to help incent them to say, hey, if we can have all homework turned in, and by the way, we'll create some systems for doing that and have that child be a part of building those systems. If all homework is turned in successfully for the month of September, we're going to have a fun family game night, or, whatever it is that works for that child. But yeah, I think having them involved in the creation of the systems, and where possible, giving them choices that are going to work well for them. Because the other thing with a parent always doing it for their child is the parent's going to do it the way that works for the parents. This is something that, my team has been trained to do, is we can't go in and help a client organize in the way that necessarily works for us. We can share ideas, but it won't be sustainable for the other person if we always do it our way and only one way, right? So when we involve the kids in the process, we can ask them questions. And you gave some great examples of offering choices. And this is just a great parenting tip anyway. Offering two choices, both of which are acceptable and will be successful, but letting the kid have the choice and the control to make that choice. So, as a young kid, I remember, being taught as a parent in some parent education that, you don't say, go get your jacket, or would you like to wear a jacket? If it's pouring down rain outside, you say, would you like the red jacket today or the blue jacket? And either which is fine, right? And then they get the control and they go out wearing a jacket. So some of these same things can be, offered age appropriately for middle school kids who can have more increased sense of control and responsibility, as they should, going through their school years.
Right. And the great thing about middle school is, if we're talking about academics and success, is that this is kind of the training ground for high school. And if they decide to go to college afterwards, they can make some mistakes, because this GPA doesn't go to colleges. So it's okay to allow them to fail, to forget to turn in an assignment, and then say, hey, what happened there? Was it lost in the black hole backpack, or was it left at home? How can we change that next time?
Yeah,
so it's
I
a
love
great
that.
time to step back.
Yep, I love that. When the price of a mistake is low, it's the best time to let those happen. And in fact, there's so many lessons that are not learned when something goes perfectly. Not that we don't want everything to go smoothly, but sometimes those missteps or mistakes or missed deadlines, allow us to tweak a system to get it right before high school, when it does matter more.
Right. And just remember, parents, if it happens, don't freak out. Don't punish or give huge consequences. They have natural consequences if they don't turn something in, right? So it's your job to kind of guide them and not say, oh, you're an awful person, or that's horrible that happened. Just to calmly say, oh, that really is not great. How do you feel about it? And let's fix it for the future.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, is involving them in the solution. Hey, bummer that happened. What do you think, like helping them break it down? Like, what do you think was the misconnect, or where do you think the misstep happened? And then how could you, not even we, but how could you prevent that from happening again? Or what could you do differently next time?
Exactly. I love it. Just listening to this, I can tell some parents are going to hear this, Debbie, and they're going to be like, oh, this is great. They're going to feel like this weight off their shoulders, knowing they don't have to organize their kids from now until eternity.
That's right. That's the other benefit of helping their kids learn this now, is that parents can step back and let their children, especially at middle school age, take control of this important life skill.
Right. It's very important. Okay. So awesome. Again, I'm so happy that Simply Place is going to be part of the You Got This event in September. It's, as a reminder for those of you who don't know about it, it's September 28th from 10 to 4, and it's for girls in middle school. And we are going to teach them life skills like organizing and lots of other important information. Thanks again, Debbie, for doing this interview with us. I hope, parents, you have learned something. Feel free to ask us questions and we will get back to you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so Debbie, for those who are coming to the event, I hear that you're going to be offering something special for them.
Yeah, we have put together what we think is a great package to help kids be organized for school success. So they're going to get some great tips and strategies during the event itself, but often that kind of one-on-one help really enables them to implement those strategies that they've learned and had success. So we've put together an Organized for School Success program where they work with one of our organizers on my team, and they have a 90-minute session, so 90-minute one-on-one session with a professional organizer, and that is used for helping them get organized for school. So we talked about, organizing the backpack, the binder, possibly the study space, their bedroom, anything that needs some time and attention. Also talking about using their planner and breaking down projects and some time management strategies. So 90-minute session in person. Then they also get a time timer. This is I've got one here, grab it. This is a great tool that we sell and we use with a lot of our clients to help them keep track of time as it passes, because some of the students that we work with are more time challenged. And so this is a great tool. They get the timer, they get a set of these 2-pocket dividers that we really like, a 30-minute Zoom accountability follow-up call with their organizer, and then 30 minutes of texting, phone, video support, and then 2 recap and recommendation emails that go to the parents. So this is a great package that we've put together. We're going to be offering a special price at the event, but we offer it all the time anyway.
That's great. So if I hear this right, it's like 2.5 hours of support, really.
Yeah, it's the 90 minutes in person, the 30-minute Zoom follow-up, and then another 30 minutes of the texting and then plus the recap emails to the parents, which they can.
That's great. That's great. And you're in their home, in their study space, in their backpack, helping. That's fantastic. Okay, so I will be putting the link below so that you can access that package. I think it's going to be a great follow-up from our event. For those of you who can't come to the event, I would highly recommend that you get in touch with Simply Placed and get your systems in order for this coming school year, especially if your child has had some challenges around organization. It's great to start the school year with your systems in place. Thanks, Debbie, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at Simply Placed.
Yes.